What's up, guys? Going off the beaten path just a little bit. Down there is a creek that is generally loaded with good fish. Now I gotta be very, very quiet and still the rest of the way. Move very slow. If you look in the bottom right corner of the frame, there's some ripples there. That's right about where I saw a bowfin earlier this morning. I wasn't able to catch it. Yeah, there's something out there. This looks like it could be a pretty good spot. For the gar, I've got our Stradic, my new favorite Daiwa, the A-I-R-D or AIRD. Someone can comment if you know how that's supposed to be pronounced. Gonna be doing just a bit of sight casting, and I've got a float on here. So the idea is, the preference would be, I see the fish on top of the water, throw this out there, drag the bait in front of his nose, he snaps at it, you get a hookup. However, I'm also just gonna blind cast and wait until that happens, because if I don't see any fish, there's no point in not having a bait in the water until one shows up. And bait today, there you go, bait today is gonna be just a bit of chicken heart on a treble hook. I've got just a short length, maybe 8 inches of 30-pound wire. Let's get a bait out in the water, and I'll show you what else we're working with. All right, guys, gar spotted. There he is, there he is, there he is, come on. Come on, yep, there he is, there he is. Got it, he's got the bait. Perfect. Let's give him a second. There he goes. I got a very small, very sharp treble on here and a very small amount of meat on it. So I don't actually need to give him that much time. I also don't need to do a huge hook set. Yeah, there he is. Look at him, beaching himself. Just kind of walking back. Again, I would never do this with a big fish. This would be a recipe for disaster. But again, tiny little guy, and the hook is just barely in his mouth, which is perfect, because I don't like having to deal with deep hooked fish of any kind, but especially gar, because they're just a nightmare to unhook. Got it, perfect. Look at that, that's a fat gar. Nice little fish. Beautiful animal, let's get him back. Let's get out of here, buddy. This is a pretty good looking spot here. Lots of structures. So you can see there's concrete that's laid halfway across on each end, kind of just leaving a small gap in the middle. And of course you've got a bunch of overhangs, which is always good. Now there was, earlier today, an alligator out here that was maybe about 5 feet long. You know, it's probably not big enough to actually kill anyone, 5 feet, but it's enough to do some damage if he got a hold of you. Okay, got another fish on. What do we got? Something's traveling with it. I can give this one another second longer than I gave that last one. Instead of setting the hook sideways, obviously I'm going to set it straight up. Yeah, that's a fish on. Yeah. Nice little gar. Look at that, he's so cute. He's a tiny little guy. Actually, the way they do that, I would never, ever try to beach a big gar like that. It's just a recipe for disaster. You'll lose so many fish that way, but these tiny little ones, you can get away with it. There we go. Hold still, gosh almighty. He's hooked right through the end of his mouth too, which is nice. That's the point of the way I try to do this. Let's go ahead and get him under a bit of control here. I don't want him to hurt himself. There he is. Nice fish. Good colors on this guy. It's hard to handle these guys with one hand when they're this tiny. Just want you to see the spots on him. Here we go. Just kind of ship him off. There he goes. So guys, that last fish we caught blind casting. So just leaving our bait dead sticking in the water. And what you can also do that is, in my opinion, even more effective with these small gars, you can spot them on top of the water, like that one right there. You can cast the bait out to them and try to get their attention. So here's what I want to do now. We're going to slide our float down. I just want a few inches on this leader, because what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to use this float as almost a guide to guarantee that bait stays in that animal's face. Okay, we got his attention. He's coming our way. When they're very small like this, they're suckers for bait getting dropped in their face. And he took it. It's in his mouth now. This is the most effective way to fish for these small gar, is to actually spot them, sight cast a natural bait to them, give them just a second to adjust it in their mouth, and then they're all yours. Just like that. Oh, he threw the hook. He threw the hook, but that's all right. You guys see the principle in action here. So let me show you guys something that I typically try to do after losing a fish like that. So we could easily hook a big chunk of bait on our treble just like that. So Mr. Gar comes along here, and when you have a big chunk of bait dangling off your hook, he's gonna grab it, the end of his mouth, like that, and you do not have that hook in his mouth. And what you'll see a lot of the times is your float kind of popping up and down in little tiny motions, and that's this fish trying to readjust this bait in his mouth. And what you need is to make sure that that hook is here. So one of the ways I like to do that, especially if I'm not gonna give the gar a chance to swallow the hook, I don't want to wait a long time. That's one way to make sure the gar takes that bait way back into his mouth. But the more simple answer, and the one that's going to be better for the fish, is just downsize. But here you can see the more effective answer is just downsize the bait. That gar comes along, grabs that little piece of meat there, more than likely it's going to get into his mouth, the hook points are, and we're going to get a much better hookup rate with a tinier bait on the hook. All right, let's head into this thick stuff here. Back in a spot like that, always a great area to fish. Definitely want to give this a go. Readjust a little bit of our tackle though. Okay, fish on. There we go. Finally. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good fish. Long nose gar. There he is, there he is. Look at that, beautiful fish. Try to get him in the net here. In the net. Whew. That's a day saver right there. I was worried we were gonna go home without catching another fish. Okay, let's get the hook out of his mouth and get him back, but not before showing him off to the camera. See right here, this is a really good example. You guys get a real nice close view here. You can see right by my middle finger, that's where the hook is. Perfect placement. Be real easy to get it out of his mouth. There we go, hook's out. Let me show you guys this nice little long-nosed gar. So strong. They're so strong. Very beautiful fish. Let me show you guys my favorite thing about them is definitely that tail. It's absolutely astounding how colorful that tail is. Yeah, it's astounding to me how colorful that is. Looks just like the patterns on a cheetah. Beautiful fish, long, amazing looking, almost alien-like face. Let's get this gorgeous animal back in the water. Now we're going one-handed release here, guys, so quite possible he's just gonna kick out of my hand and get back in the water real quick. Here he goes. Boom, like a missile. And he's off. Good fish, good fun. I'm really glad he took. It was getting late in the day. It's about time to pack it up. And I thought we were going out of here with just the 2 small spotted gar. Really pleased to have that. Well, I reckon that'll just about do it for us today, guys. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and when you do subscribe, hit that little bell so when I upload a video, you get all the notifications straight away. If you want to see more videos like this, let us know in the comments below. Also, if you want to help support videos like this, make these types of things possible, check out our Patreon link that's in the description of this video. I want to make sure that everyone that supports me feels like they're getting their money's worth. Lots of great stuff there. Check out the full list in the description. I try to make it the best Patreon there is. Really great fun out here. I'm so glad we got those couple of fish. The sun is setting. It's time to go. More is coming, guys. Stay tuned, and until it's here, I will see you guys later.